How's it going, everybody? With the 2024 NFL Draft class now in the books, I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the Packers class. I'm just going to start off by running through the picks. Then I'll get into my thoughts. So, in the first round, obviously, the Packers went Jordan Morgan. I did make a video on him if you want to take a look at that. I'm not going to go as in depth on his pick in this video, just since I already made a video on him. Anyway, second round, the Packers took Edgerrin Cooper and Javon Bullard. Then in the third round, they went Marshawn Lloyd and Teron Hopper. Fourth round, they took Evan Williams. Fifth round, they took Jacob Monk and Keaton Oladapo, I believe is how you say that. Then in the sixth round, they took Travis Glover. And in the seventh round, they took Michael Pratt and Kalen King. So overall, I'm very happy with the Packers class here. I think they did a very good job strengthening their weaknesses, which I believe were linebacker and safety. I thought maybe they could have gone corner at some point. I think Kalen King could play corner, maybe. So corner wasn't necessarily a huge need. Obviously, in the first and second round, Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid McKinstry would have been nice, but I'm really happy with Edgerrin Cooper and Javon Bullard, so can't be too mad at that. And then let's just take a look more in depth about some of these guys. Obviously, I said I'm not going to go too much in depth on Jordan Morgan. I played a video showing Bill Belichick's thoughts on this pick in my other video. So if you want to take a look at that, go ahead and look at that. And Jordan Morgan is a very good player. I think he could be a day one starter at left tackle. He's not. He's obviously he's worth a first round pick. And I think Brian Gutekunst knew that, and they knew that there weren't going to be too much great tackles after the first round. So he passed on DB and went with a tackle. And ultimately, I think it was a good decision just because the DB class was pretty deep. And they were able to get guys like Javon Bullard in the second round. Edgerrin Cooper, I love this pick. He's the best linebacker in the class. Him and Quay Walker should form a very good duo at linebacker. I believe that Edgerrin Cooper will be very good. He can rush off the edge. He can rush up the middle. I think he can cover a little bit. He's a very good overall linebacker, and I think the Packers will have a very good defense, and he will be a big part of that. Then another guy who will be part of the defense is Javon Bullard. I think you put him next to Xavier McKinney, and this secondary should be very good. He is a very solid. He's just a very solid player. I think him and Xavier McKinney at safety. You got Jair, Garrington Valentine at corner. Maybe Eric Stokes if he gets back to how he was as a rookie. This secondary should be very good, and Javon Bullard strengthens that part of the defense. Then you got Marshawn Lloyd. This was a surprising pick, I'm not going to lie. There were still some running backs available. He's had some injury issues in the past towards ACL, but he is like that speed-power combo. He rushed for 7 yards a carry last year. He can catch the ball. He's fast and explosive. I think he'll pair well with Josh Jacobs, and I think he's kind of that in-between of an A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is like a smaller, powerful guy, whereas Dillon is a bigger, powerful guy. I think Lloyd is kind of that in-between, and I think that would be a good change of pace. I mean, he's very similar to Josh Jacobs. But yeah, I think he'll be a very good change of pace back. And he is very physical. Like he grinds and he kind of succeeds based off of breaking tackles and yards after contact. So I think he'll be very good in the Packers backfield next to Jordan Love. And then Tyron Hopper. I think this guy's a stud. You got another linebacker, obviously. Packers were weak at middle linebacker. Obviously, when they had some injuries, they kind of struggled. Some guys came in and played well, but Um, Ultimately, I think drafting a couple linebackers was a good decision, and I think he's another guy who can rush the passer. He can cover. These guys are fast, both of them, and the Packers are building a very physical and fast defense, and I like it. I like it a lot. Um, he's another guy who has had a little bit of injury problems at times, but not too concerning. Um, I think he's another guy who's going to be very good, and I'm very excited for this Packers defense. Evan Williams here, I think this might have been a bit of a reach, but ultimately he's a good tackler. He's decent in pass coverage, but I think he's just very physical. He probably won't start unless they decide to put Bullard in the slot, or maybe Williams will play the slot. But ultimately, another good, solid pick, just strengthening that secondary. Then you go to Jacob Monk in the 5th round. Um, just adding depth to the offensive line. Another versatile guy. The Packers love drafting offensive linemen who can play multiple positions. Obviously, you can see there he started 12 games at right tackle in 2019, started 11 games at right guard in 2020. So this guy can literally play everywhere on the offensive line, and that's what the Packers love to draft. Obviously, you got Elton Jenkins, you got Zach Tom, now you got Jordan Morgan, and now Jacob Monk. So the Packers obviously just love versatile offensive linemen. I think that's a good thing. You want to have guys who can play multiple positions. If a guy goes down, this guy can come in and play anywhere. So I think it's a very solid pick. I don't expect him to necessarily start, but yeah, just good depth on the offensive line. And then we got another safety. Um, this one, I don't know too much about him. I believe he's a good tackler. Um, Seems like he can rush the passer a little bit. Seemingly had a sack in all 4 years from 2020 to 2023. But yeah, it just seems like another solid guy who can come in, provide some depth at safety. Um, I don't know how much he'll play. He'll probably be mostly a special teamer, but another solid depth pick here in the 6th round. And we move on to Travis Glover. Um, this guy's not as versatile. Looks like he started both right and left tackle. Um, but just another depth pick. Freshman All American, first team All Sun Belt Conference last year. Um, just a solid guy. He looks like he can play a little bit of guard, but another at this point in the draft, you're just looking for depth, and I think the depth on the offensive line was a little bit thin, so drafting some offensive linemen was a pretty solid idea, and I don't mind it at all. And then Michael Pratt. I'm honestly surprised he fell to the 7th round. Um, in my opinion, I thought he would have gone after Spencer Rattler. So anywhere after the 5th round, maybe. I thought um, he doesn't turn the ball over a ton. He is very smart with the football. Um, he has a very cool story. Um, what he lost his friend and his brother. Um, and it was a cool story to hear, and I'm happy that he's a Packer. I knew the Packers were going to try and draft a quarterback to compete with Sean Clifford for the backup spot, and honestly, I think I'd rather have Michael Pratt be the backup. So just adding some competition at every spot on the field, seemingly in this draft. So solid pick in the 7th round. And then Kalen King. This was a guy that certainly could have gone a lot higher. Fell to the 7th round, and the Packers scooped him up. He's a boomer bust type of guy. He could end up being really good, or he might not be good at all. Um, he's a very solid player though, and I'm very happy with this type of pick in the 7th round. The Packers drafted, I believe, 4 safeties, depending on whether Kalen King plays corner or safety. But overall, just a very solid draft class for the Packers. I don't think it was anything super crazy, but I'm very happy with the picks, especially in those middle rounds. Um, but yeah, I think a lot of these guys could end up contributing next season, and I think the Packers will be very good. So I think a lot of these guys will play key roles, um, and hopefully the Packers are able to be successful with these guys. One other thing I wanted to mention is that some of these safeties the Packers drafted are just very overall solid, and honestly, I think a lot of them could have gone a lot higher. Javon Bullard, I believe, is like the second best safety in the class. Um, Kitano Dapo is one of the best finishers as a safety in the class. A lot of them are very good run defenders. Sauce Gardner said that people are sleeping on Kalen King. I mean, he fell to the seventh round and was pretty much a second round lock before a poor season last year. If he can unlock his potential, the Packers might have drafted four legitimate starting safeties. And that's crazy to me. I think if Jeff Halfley can use these guys the right way, the Packers defense will be crazy good. And I'm very excited for next year. All right, well, that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed, share the video with your friends, drop a like down below, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And I plan on making some more Packers off-season content soon, as well as some Brewers in-season content. So if you're interested in that, subscribe. And until next time, go Pack Go.